Pour toi, oublier le chemin. Pour toi, inventer le matin. Prendre ta main et refermer le livre. Passer les trains, recommencer à vivre. Pour toi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the reveal of a new Fiat 500X. So I know this is not the first time you have been to a reveal, and for sure it won't be the last. I know reveals are a ritual, but don't you agree? They are so predictable. I mean, the car is hiding, then it shows up, then it goes away. Well, today 500X is not hiding. It's right here. I know it's spinning, not easy to see, but well, it's here. The brilliant artist behind this idea and behind the whole stand, by the way, is Ron Arad. His creations are in museums all over the world. Funny story, back in 2009, I took this picture at the Detroit Institute of Arts, an amazing museum with lots of masterpieces, but Ron, guess what? This is the only picture I took all day. But the thing I didn't know back then is that Ron is also a Fiat 500 expert. And I also didn't know he would make a stand for us one day. So here we are, and Ron, thank you for being here. Thank you really for being a part of this moment. So, well, as I said, Ron, you are an expert of the Fiat 500. A perfect example is the sculpture to my right, Ron's latest tribute to the 500. And as you can see on the screen, there are many more. Hey, don't ever call them smashed cars, because I did and I was corrected. These are not smashed, they are pressed. There's a huge difference, right, Ron? Because pressed is like a flower that you put between the pages of a book to keep forever. Which is right. 500 is an evergreen that has been in the pages of our book for 57 years. 57 years since 1957, a special anniversary. You know, today it's a story written in stone, but in 57 it was written in wood. I mean, look at this car on my left. This is the original wooden prototype from Dante Giacosa. The legend of 500 started from this wooden sculpture, and today, from another wooden sculpture, we'll start again.
Pour toi, oublier le chemin. Pour toi, inventer le matin. Prendre ta main et refermer le livre. Passer les trains, recommencer à vivre.
Well, I know you are wondering what you're looking at. Sure, this car is built for an art gallery, not for a test track. It's Ron's tribute to the visionaries that created the 500 in the first place. And this masterpiece, by the way, has even a name since yesterday night. Now, what about the stand? Ron's vision for the stand was an X, and we loved it. X is a perfect shape. Look at the display. It brings out the four elements of a 500's DNA. Heritage, to remind us that 500 is an icon. Pop art, which is about color, self-expression, and passion for life. Then what I call Dolce Vita, because when you buy a 500, you buy a little piece of Italian lifestyle. And finally, fashion in this area. Fashion doesn't need any explanation, especially in Paris. So these are the four genetic components of the 500 in general. But what about the X? What does the X stand for? X is many things. It's a generation, it's a chromosome, it's a child's play, it's an adult entertainment, it's a plan of attack. Ladies and gentlemen, meet 500X. Exponentially 500. Like any 500, it's damn sexy. Like any 500, it's iconic. And like any 500, it's fun. So what about the X? What is the X factor of this 500? First of all, it's more Italian than ever. You know, the original 500 from the 60s was designed in Italy, engineered in Italy, and produced in Italy, but it was mainly sold in Italy. This car is designed, engineered, and built in Italy too, but it has an incredible fit for most of the markets. So, like the current 500 that sells 80% of its volume outside our domestic market, this new car, the 500X, is ready to take on the world. Trust me, this X will also stand for expatriate. And to go global, the first argument of 500X is world-class quality. So to achieve this, it takes engineering, it takes testing, it takes discipline. This is why we redesigned the Melfi plant. This is why we spent 2.5 million hours of engineering, 500,000 hours of labs testing, and more than 5 million kilometers of road testing in the most extreme conditions. And this is why quality control is leading edge, like the scanner you see on the screen, which literally X-rays 500X. So now, why wouldn't we do our own X-rays together? I mean, let's discover what 500X has under the skin. Well, as you see here, there are many X factors. Excellence, we have seen, it's the area of quality. But also excitement. Excitement obviously starts under the hood. As you can see on the slide, for Europe, we have 8 combinations of engines and transmissions. It's an investment designed to appeal every customer in every market. And I can't wait to get into more detail when we'll test the cars together soon in November in Balocco. Then, exceptional. Exceptional like our transmissions. Because 500X and Jeep Renegade are the only ones in the category to offer 3 types of transmissions. So you have the 6-gear manual, 6-gear DDCT, and 9-gear automatic, a class exclusive transmission with a torque converter and 20 different mappings. So let's try another X, like extreme. Well, let's be clear, 500X was not born to be extreme. It's actually very well balanced. But what's extreme in 500X is a range of traction systems, the widest in the segment. 4x2, 4x2 traction plus, and 4x4. And clearly, one of the benefits of the technical sharing with Jeep in Melfi is a state-of-the-art 4x4 offering. You'll find an intelligent coupling that automatically manages torque distribution to the axles, an integration between all-wheel drive system and braking system to distribute torque to the left and right wheels, and an electronic system that includes a power tech unit and a rear drive module to disconnect the all-wheel drive when not necessary and reduce consumptions. Well, let's keep going with our X factors, and we have now X like extraordinary. Extraordinary is the way the car is loaded with the most advanced active safety features: lane assist, blind spot assist, brake control, adaptive cruise control. These are features that you'll arguably find on other cars, but let me tell you, having all of them on the same car, this is class exclusive. Now, there is another area where 500 has always been leading the industry, the colors, the personalization, which leads me to another X, this one, expressive. Well, now you can express yourself with a choice of 12 colors, among which a tri-coat red, a tri-coat yellow, and even a matte bronze, this one to my right. Let me tell you, no one can claim an offer like this. But not only is 500X expressive, it's also extroverted. I mean, connected. Because this is the world we live in, the world of social media, and 500X is connected with it. Through Uconnect Live, it's connected with Facebook, Twitter, Reuters, TuneIn and its 100,000 radio stations, and with Deezer, which means 30 million music tracks. Oh, and one more thing, the TomTom Live Traffic, a navigation system that reduces time wasted in traffic by up to 15%, more savings and less emissions. Plus, it is now coupled with a new generation eco-drive system, extra savings and extra CO2 reduction. And speaking about extra, this is another X factor. Extra, you know, stands for the little touch that makes life on board even more enjoyable. I mean, attention to detail, comfort. This is super important for us because, you know, 500 is a brand within the brand. It is the aspirational side of Fiat. On the screen behind me, we tried to capture a few of these features just to pique your interest a bit, but clearly the full list of amenities goes far above and beyond what you have on the slide. My advice, go check it out for yourself. You'll see what I mean. By the way, one of the many extras of the car is the sound, the Beats sound system. Only Dr. Dre could provide that other X, the X like in explosive. So now let's discover the various trim levels. As we said, any 500 has 4 embedded elements: heritage, pop culture, Dolce Vita, and fashion. Well, the offer will be structured accordingly. Heritage, this is where you find a classic color from the 50s. It's called Grigio Arte. This version is definitely the less off-road. It tackles the heart of the C segment, which commercially makes a lot of sense. Because after all, if you ignore the crossover look, the capability, 500X has the dimensions, 4.2 meter, and the roominess of a traditional C segment car. I mean, the C segment, the second largest segment in Europe. Now, let's move to the pop world. So that's our pop area. Pop is full of yellow. It's like a street in Los Angeles with lots of yellow little Fiats around, which gives me an opportunity to give you an update on North America. Well, in the US, the brand is on pace to have its best year ever. By the way, yesterday, we posted plus 29% increase on 500 in September year over year. You know, the equation behind these numbers is quite simple. Great product plus great marketing. Make a difference. Shake up the market landscape. Okay, now let's move to the area dedicated to Italian fashion. As the French, it hurts to say, but well, Italy is fashion and fashion is Italy. And more importantly for us, fashion is 500. So matte bronze paint, burnished rims, stylish interiors, tobacco, color leather. For us, the influences of the runway have always been a two-way street. This is true for 500, for 500X, and for 500L. And this year again, the European market seems to reward us for this. Look at this, 500 and 500L are leading their segments in Europe with market shares of about 16% and 23%, which hopefully paves the way for 500X as well. Well, so far we've been speaking about the car. What about the client? You see, 500 is a crossover not only for the way it crosses through different cars, but for the way it crosses through different customers. First, it crosses through loyal customers and conquest customers. We expect 2/3 of our client to come from outside FCA, which is a clear opportunity. Then it crosses customers coming from above and from below. I mean, upgraders and downsizers. On one hand, we can offer the upgrade to 10 million owners of small Fiats, and on the other, attract competitive customers from the C and D segments. It's a kind of a hub, if I may. So you see, X stands for crossroads. Crossroads between loyalty and conquest, crossroads between upgraders and downsizers, but crossroads also between young and mature, forward thinkers and icon lovers, between the ones who are buying into style and the ones who are looking for substance. Simply put, it's an all-wheel drive that we'll all drive. You know, it's a cool and open market space. It's full of opportunities. No wonder if it's growing at a pace of 65% a year, great. But let's face it, we are not the only ones hunting in this space. But our 500X won't just be another crossover. We are committed to make a difference. And to do so, everything will matter. A superior product, sure, but also superior service, and customer experience. As I said, we speak to a younger crowd, right? So more progressive, plenty of early adopters. So the challenge is introduce them to the brand, delight them, and retain them. And to do this, you want a world-class customer experience, which is why we are upgrading part of our sales force from mass market to upper mainstream, redesigning a specific sales process for 500, aligning everything to meet the expectations of these new clients and offer them a truly personal treatment. And speaking of personalization, you will certainly have noticed some very peculiar 500s on this stand. These are very special cars and they are part of a limited edition called 500 Couture. Because you know, some of our clients are not really limited by budget. What they want something unique. So the first one we launch will be this one. This is inspired by Ron Arrad's personal car, the one he drives every day in London. And as you see on the slide, this will be just the first of a more holistic collection. As we shared during our Investor Day in Detroit, May 6, Fiat has a dual personality, functional and aspirational. Today, clearly, is all about 500, the aspirational side, right? But don't be mistaken, we have not forgotten the other aspect of the brand, the functional side, and someday in the future, there might even be a stand completely dedicated to this other side of Fiat. Personally, at this very moment, I feel very close to the world of 500, the world where, to quote Einstein, logic takes you from A to B and imagination takes you everywhere else. In other words, from A to X. Right, 500 won't go from A to B, 500 won't go from A to boring, because for 500, straight lines are for squares and life doesn't come with directions. And X is not a place. X is a mindset. So A to X means go from a place to a mindset. And our mindset is materialized in this very stand. Because at the end of the day, I look at Ron's 500s, I look at Dante Giacosa's wooden master model, I look at our 500X, and I tell myself, sure, we don't live in a world where poetry dictates the rules or where beauty has the power it deserves, not yet. But perhaps we are getting there. Thank you.